Do you think you're being gaslighted by a toxic narcissist? Today at queenbeing.com, I'm going to share with you the top 10 red flag signs that you should watch for. My name is Angela Atkinson, and I'm a certified life coach and author and a survivor. You can learn more about narcissism and narcissistic abuse recovery at queenbeing.com, get my books at booksangieWrote.com, or take my free 5-day e-course for narcissistic abuse survivors at narcissismsupportcoach.com. Let's get started. So, I'm going to begin today with a quote from Jeffrey Kluger. Narcissism falls along the axis of what psychologists call personality disorders, one of a group that includes antisocial, dependent, histrionic, avoidant, and borderline personalities. But by most measures, narcissism is one of the worst, if only because the narcissists themselves are so clueless. Now, if you've ever had a friend or a family member, even a coworker, who is a narcissist or who suffers from narcissistic personality disorder, chances are that you have been the victim of gaslighting, which is a manipulation technique that narcissists will use to get what they want from their victims. So, those who engage, according to Yashar Ali in a Huffington Post article, those who engage in gaslighting create a reaction, whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, in the person they're dealing with. And then when that person reacts, the gaslighter makes them feel uncomfortable and insecure by acting like, their feelings aren't rational or normal. So, in other words, gaslighters make you feel crazy because they act like your reactions to their abuse are not rational. See how crazy that is? Anyway, while the signs that you're being gaslighted might seem pretty obvious to some people, the fact is that you're being manipulated by a narcissist and you can't always see the proverbial forest for the trees. Do you feel me? So, if you find yourself feeling like you might be a little crazy or, you know, don't freak out because that's all part of the whole deal. That's how the gaslighting technique works. In fact, that is the goal of the technique because in order to keep you under control, the narcissist needs to kind of keep you off balance a little bit. And if he makes you think you're crazy, you might become even more dependent on him, for that reality check, which unfortunately is not a reality check, but we'll get there. So even if you're aware that it's happening, you might still want to check out this video and understand how to recognize it better while it's happening. Because as I say all the time, understanding the signs is the first step to making your life just a little bit better. And every step toward a little better is a step toward a lot better. You feel me? Anyway, so no, like I just said, knowing the signs of gaslighting is the first step to making. When you're aware of the behaviors that cause your narcissist to engage in gaslighting, you can react differently and change the course of the outcome. So, what are the signs that you're being gaslighted? Let's go ahead and start and do the top 10, shall we? Number one, your fears are used against you. So, what do I mean by this? Well, many narcissists, we all know they're so charming, at least when they want to be, right? Often they will listen to every word you have to say and file away any vulnerabilities you reveal for later use. For example, if you told a narcissist that you felt insecure about your weight, most likely he's going to make discreet pokes at it later when he thinks that he needs to get in control. Or if you're in a romantic relationship, he may make comments about others who are thinner than you. In any case, he's always out to feel better than you. So, and again, in the case of a dating relationship or a marriage, you're going to see a narcissist, ooh, that girl's hot or that guy's hot. And if it's the case of a weight issue or an appearance security issue, right? Or if you feel like you're struggling with your intelligence, you feel stupid or you feel, not good enough, inevitably the narcissist will find your fears, your biggest insecurities, and just poke until they hurt you. Okay, and this is just one of many ways you're being gaslighted. Let's keep it moving here, shall we? All right. So and let me just say this: the narcissist does have an ultimate goal. Of course, he does, to make you doubt yourself, to make you become more dependent on him. That's what I was saying. All right. Number two, you don't know your own mind. Okay. So some narcissists claim to know what you or others are thinking. And if you deny that your mind's working the way they believe it is, well, they might just secretly think you're lying. They might make a face or a gesture to indicate it. Or in the most extreme cases of NPD, they might actually tell you that you're lying and even accuse you of lying to yourself. Because, of course, as narcissists, they can't be wrong, right? I don't know. Have you been there? Because I have. It's not pretty. All right, next one up. You don't know what's normal. So if you're regularly being told that things are normal when deep down you know for sure they're not, you are likely the victim of gaslighting. So, for example, if your boss asks you to blatantly lie to a client about the safety of one of your products, right? When you refuse, instead of being like, you know what, you're right, it's okay, I understand your ethics, la la la, your boss is going to be like, you know what? All employees lie on behalf of their employers. And if you don't want to be a team player, you know what? You should just find another position. See, because what you're doing is being told something that you believe to be wrong is right, and that you are in fact wrong for not doing it. See what I'm saying? Not normal. All right, moving on. You're diagnosed with major issues. Okay. So when a narcissist is lying or manipulating a friend or a coworker or a loved one and isn't quite getting his way, he's going to turn up the intensity. And sometimes he'll do that by questioning your sanity. You might be called paranoid, stressed out, too sensitive, or even hormonal. He or she, understand this can also be a female narcissist, might even tell you that you need therapy or meds to get through it. Again, it's all about being in control. A narcissist is going to do anything he can to stay in control, even at the expense of those he claims to love. Now, if you go and you visit my YouTube channel, I just did a video the other day with I think it was 121 things narcissists say when they're gaslighting. This is another one that would be really good for you to take a look at as far as getting in touch with understanding what you're looking for when it comes to seeing the signs of narcissism and narcissistic abuse. Okay. All right, moving on. Um, okay, next up, you doubt your own beliefs and perceptions, right? So you're told that what you know to be true is not true or real. We kind of talked about that before. So, for example, if your narcissist mother tells you, hey, you know what? That guy or that girl you're dating is a big fat loser and you need to dump him or her, after a while, you might start to believe it and end up, you might even end up sabotaging that relationship because you begin to believe and you begin to question your own judgment because of the regular conditioning that you receive, not only during your visits and phone calls and emails, but also, you know, growing up. Because obviously, if you're dealing with a narcissist mother, you're dealing with a lifelong issue here, right? All right, moving on. Next up, you can't remember anything anymore, right? Well, we all know the narcissist is going to be infamous for selective memory. So, what I mean is, he's going to deny that he said something that upset you, especially if you confront him on it, right? Or he might promise to do something and later tell you that, you know what, I never said that. I never promised I would do it. Or he might use creative language to downplay his behavior and act like your reaction, even though it's probably completely logical, is totally out of line. So, for example, maybe he's going to step on your feet and then say, "Well, your feet were in my way." That's kind of a silly one, but the point is that he's going to do something to hurt you and then act like it's your fault because of where you happen to be or what you were doing at that moment or whatever. Okay. All right, moving on. And you lie to keep the peace. Now, this is an interesting one because most of the time you're probably not a liar by nature and you don't lie to other people in your life. But due to the extreme stress that this narcissist is causing you, anytime you anger him or upset him and the rage gets going, you're probably going to find yourself at least bending the truth a little bit in order to avoid hopefully the only verbal, but not, I mean, I'm not saying it's hopefully abuse at all, but the abuse that you're going to get. I'm thinking mental or emotional abuse, because that's going to follow no matter what happens, if you go against the quote unquote narcissist rules. So, one thing I just want to stop, and I say this in probably almost every video, if you are being physically or sexually abused in your relationship, you need to turn this video off now, and you need to go to queenbean.com and click on that emergency domestic violence resource page. Get out ASAP. Your life could depend on it, okay? I'm not going to harp on it, just saying. Move on. All right. So, next up, you stop trying to be heard, okay? Now, this is a hard one because as humans, we are programmed to share our experiences and our thoughts with the people in our lives. But when you're dealing with a narcissist and there are signs that you're being gaslighted, you eventually might just go, oh, forget about it and give up. So you stop talking about yourself around the narcissist, and depending on the depth of your relationship and the length of your relationship with him or her, you might even stop talking about yourself altogether. So, then one day somebody might be like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? What's up with you?" You don't even know what to say. You might even forget how to talk about yourself at that point. It's very difficult. So, yeah. Anyway, next up, you start thinking maybe you really are the crazy one, right? So, the intensity of a narcissist's manipulation tactics can get incredibly overwhelming for anyone. So, and when you are looking for a solution, as in a way to just end the disagreement or argument, it's you could convince yourself that the narcissist is right and that there are things that you could be doing better. And maybe you start to think that his behavior was a logical reaction to your mistakes. Maybe you are the one who owes him an apology, right? And when you apologize, he eventually probably accepts your apology only to later throw your bad behavior back in his face. Now, so when it serves him, so you see what's happened there, right? He made you apologize to him for something you didn't do, and you apologized just to shut him up. And later you were, attacked again because of the apology that you made and quote unquote, admission of bad behavior. It's crazy making. Okay. Next up, you are depressed. So as a narcissist works to wear down his victim, he or she may become depressed and increasingly anxious. PTSD is an issue for a lot of victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. Anyway, a victim is going to constantly question herself and feel generally hopeless. And if you're in this situation, you might feel exhausted from like the roller coaster ride that your narcissist has just taken you on. And you might even begin to think that you are a little oversensitive. It's, thanks to that NPD manipulation tactic you're being subjected to. And you become confused and you start to feel disoriented. I'm not kidding. It's crazy. And thanks to all of those references, to your paranoia and your memory issues and your problems with your brain, it's possible that you're going to go ahead and seek help for depression rather than the actual problem, which is the gaslighting narcissist in your life. You might find yourself drugged up on Paxil or Prozac or whatever, Zoloft, whatever's in these days, and not even need that stuff. You might just need to get away from that oppression that you're dealing with that narcissist. You know, Even the so-called normal relationships in our lives can suffer from misunderstandings and miscommunications, but the issue comes up when someone starts to use manipulation tactics such as gaslighting and those involved with gaslighting, because chances are at that point that there might be a toxic narcissist. And so if you're going to maintain a sense of self, you really have to start making changes in your life. So let me ask you a question. Do you recognize any of the signs that you're being gaslighted that I mentioned here as part of your reality? And have you ever been the victim of gaslighting? How would you tell a friend to handle a toxic relationship that involves gaslighting? Let's talk about it. Share your comments, your questions, your thoughts, and your experiences below, and I'll respond to you. And let's open up the discussion. That's all I've got for today. My name's Angie Atkinson, and I will see you tomorrow here on my YouTube channel and at queenbeing.com. You may also check out booksangierwrote.com if you're interested in my books. We will talk soon. Have a great week.